In this video, I'm going to show you how you can get started building Shopify apps. I'm going to walk you through setting up your first Shopify development store and your first Shopify app, and I'm going to use Gadget to do it because it abstracts a lot of Shopify's boilerplate and allows me to get started building quickly. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to get started here on the Shopify Partners landing page. If you haven't already created a new partners account, you need to go ahead and do that. That's at shopify.com/partners. The link is in the video description. I already have a partners account, so I'm just going to log in. And I'll select my Riley Test Stuff account. And that brings me to this partners dashboard. Now there's lots of different features and functionality built into this dashboard. I'm going to focus on two main tabs, and that'll be the Stores tab, where I can create development stores for testing my apps, and then the Apps tab, which are my apps, where I can actually manage the apps that I am building and testing. So I'm going to click on Stores to start. You see, I've already created some development stores, but you can go ahead and click Add Store and Create Development Store to create a new one. I'm going to start by creating a store to test and build, and I'll give my store a name. I'll call it Cart Transform Testing. Perfect. You can select a developer preview if you'd like. Shopify has some more information if you click on this link about developer previews. I am going to go ahead and select Cart Transform, which you may have guessed from my store name. And that's simply because I don't have a Cart Transform dev store yet. Another popular one is Checkout Extensibility. Maybe not necessarily for your first development store, but it's not a bad idea to select that option as well. It allows you to build some of Shopify's latest and greatest checkout features. Finally, I'm going to go ahead and start with test data, which just gives me some sample product, order, and customer data, so I'm not starting from scratch. Normally, if you select Create with an empty store, you need to go ahead and upload your own products. I'm going to skip that step. So let's go ahead and create this development store. Takes a little while to spin up. But once it is created, I'm redirected right to my new store. My development store has been set up, and I have been redirected to this backend admin portal. And this admin is what merchants use to manage and customize their stores. So you can see if I click on products, these are where the sample products have been generated. I can browse through them. Same with customers. There's some sample customers generated for me. And right at the bottom, you'll notice there is an apps section. So because this is a brand new shop, I haven't installed any apps yet. We're about to get to that soon. But this is where my app will be available to merchants. It will be embedded right in this admin portal so that they can customize how their shop works. If I do hover over this online store option and click on this icon, this opens the Shopify storefront. So this is what the store will actually look like to buyers, to people browsing the store when they visit it. So you can see I can click on a product, add it to the cart, go through the checkout process. If you are interested in doing development for storefront, that's called theme development. And if you are interested in doing kind of an entire storefront theme, my tutorial here isn't going to cover that. So there is other videos, there's other materials, Shopify documentation that you'll want to take a look at when it comes to actually developing themes. If you only want to develop small little pieces of storefront functionality, that can be done with Shopify's theme extensions, and that is very relevant to the little walkthrough I'm about to go through. So you can use theme extensions when you're building custom admin apps. I will just flip back to my admin portal here. So I'm at the point now, my development store is set up, got my admin, things are looking pretty good. I want to actually go ahead and create a new app. So I need to go back to my partners dashboard here. And because it is my most used page in the partners dashboard, it is going to autocomplete right to the apps page. So you see I've already selected it here. I already have a list of apps I've used for building and testing various things. Your list might be empty right now, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new app. I'm going to create an app manually because I'm going to use Gadget to actually write the code for my application. And the reason I'm using Gadget is because it is a hosted and auto-scaled development platform. It's going to give me a full stack application. So that's a Postgres database, Node backend, and React frontend. And there's a built-in Shopify connection to handle a lot of Shopify's boilerplate. So for example, there's going to be authentication handling, front-end session token handling, as well as things like webhook subscription and a historical data sync. So Gadget's going to handle all that for me. You can also create apps through Shopify CLI. It gives you a remix template. I'm not going to go into that at all. There's plenty of content around creating remix apps. If you're interested, I'm going to go ahead and create an app manually. And I'll just give it a name, My First App, and press create. So that's wonderful. I'm almost ready to set up my new Gadget app. Before I get into that, I will say there are two types of Shopify apps. I'm going to go ahead and click Choose Distribution. And these are the two different distribution methods. The first is public. So if you build a public app, it will be available on the Shopify App Store, or it can be unlisted. But this means that anyone who has a link to your app can install it and use it on their store. Usually you're charging either a one-time fee or a monthly subscription fee for merchants to be able to use your app's functionality. The second type of app are called custom apps. I recommend getting started with a custom app if you can. This is great opportunity for freelance work because you're writing usually a single piece of custom functionality for a single merchant. So you don't have to deal with Shopify's billing APIs. You don't have to deal with data tenancy or multi-tenancy like you would do in public apps. It is an easier way to get started. I'm not going to go through this quite yet. I will show you how to install a custom distribution at the very end of this video though. So that's great. I'm going to go back to my overview page. I've got my client ID in secret. That is what I need to set up my Shopify connection in my Gadget app. So I'm going to create my new Gadget app next. I will head over to gadget.new. If you don't have a Gadget account, you'll need to sign up first. I work here, so I obviously do have an account. I'm going to select the Shopify app type, click next, and then enter a domain for my app. So I'll just call this my very first Shopify.gadget.app. And I'll click get started. So this creates my new Gadget app for me. So this will give me a hosted Postgres database, Node.js backend, and React frontend powered by Vite, like I mentioned before. The first thing I notice is that there's this connect to Shopify button, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I've shown you the parts of the partner's dashboard. That is always how we recommend connecting to Shopify. You can also connect directly from that store admin. However, it is limited in features and functionality, so we always recommend going through the partner's dashboard, even if you're just building for a single merchant. You'll notice at the very bottom here, we have client ID and client secret. Those should look familiar because they're right here in my partner's app, so I just need to copy them over to Gadget. And then I'll press connect. On this page, I select what Shopify scopes and data models I want to include in my app. This is intimidating the first time you go about building a Shopify app because the Shopify API is huge. You probably don't know what scopes and what models you actually need to build your app. That's a-okay. This connection is always editable later, so you don't need to worry about making the right choices up front. Now, before I actually select scopes and models, I'm going to just quickly take a step back and talk about Shopify's Admin API. So because we are building an app that is embedded in that store admin, we're going to use the Admin API to get and write data to Shopify. Of course, this can't be simple. Shopify has two versions of their Admin API. There is a REST Admin API, and there is a GraphQL Admin API. Both of them have shared resources. So if I go ahead on the REST API, I can click on products. You see there is a product data model. If I go into the GraphQL API, I find products and collections, go to the objects, and I can click on another product data model. If I go ahead and do a quick glance at these fields, see there's properties, body HTML, created at. They are not the same. So that is nice and convenient. The Gadget data models are based on the REST API when available. There are some models that are only available in the GraphQL API, and in that case, we are fetching data using the GraphQL Admin API. So I just want to note that it is a large API. It takes a while to get used to. Don't be intimidated. You can always edit your connection in Gadget if you want different data models. If you don't want data models, you can remove them from the connection. So that is a-okay. So I'm just going to go over back to my Gadget app. I'm going to select my product read scope. So I want to be able to read in product data into my app. And I'm just going to select the product, and I will select the product variant data models. So you see, as I did that, my setup summary changed a bit. So Gadget is also going to automatically subscribe to Shopify webhooks for me. So you can see I am subscribing to some shop webhooks. So when a shop is updated or uninstalled, I will get a webhook for that, as well as my create, update, and delete product webhooks. So whenever a merchant changes the product in the admin, that could be a trigger for an action that I want to run as part of my app. So we are subscribing to webhooks for you. You also get an overview of the models that we are going to sync data for automatically. You can scroll down this page. We do have a heap of models available. So if you are getting into public app development at the very bottom, we also have billing resources. I'm just going to go ahead and press confirm with my product selections now. You'll notice that the product and product variant data models have been added to my app, as well as shop, GDPR request, and sync models, which are added to every Gadget app when you connect to Shopify. I'm going to get back to those in a little bit. I'm going to finish setting up my connection first. So we give you this app URL and redirection URL. I need to copy these values, go back to my partners app, click on the app setup tab, and paste in this app URL and this redirection URL. And I will press save here. Perfect. So now my app is ready to be installed on my shop. So I'm going to go back to overview. I can go ahead and click select store in the test your app section. And I'm going to go ahead and select my cart transform testing store, my brand new development store. So I haven't written a line of OAuth code. That's what's really great about Gadget, is it's going to handle all of the OAuth for me. So I can just directly install my app on a store. So I'll just click the install app button. And voila, this is my embedded app. You'll notice we're back in this store's admin. Under the apps section, there is my first app, and this is just a shop information page. This is actually a React front end that is included and hosted as part of your Gadget project. So if I go back to Gadget here, click on the front end folder and go to shop page JSX, this is the page that is actually powering that front end here. So you see there is a banner with a title, your app is successfully connected to Shopify. If I go back here, my very first Shopify is successfully connected to Shopify. So this React front end is styled using Shopify's Polaris component library. Gadget automatically install this for you when you set up your connection to Shopify. So if I just go over to the Polaris docs, I will include a link to these docs in the description. But if I click on components, you can see there's lots of components. You can use these to build native feeling apps so that your app blends in with the rest of the Shopify admin, which is really nice. So if I scroll down here, I should be able to find a banner component. And that looks pretty familiar if I go back here. So it is the same banner component. It'll look the same as every other banner that is used in the admin if the app is built on Polaris. So that's wonderful. The next thing I want to mention is webhooks. So if I go back to my Gadget app and click on my Shopify product model, you see a model is like a table in a database, and we have these fields. So these fields, if we take a look at them and compare them to the product resource from the REST API, they should match up. So that is great. We also have some CRUD actions generated automatically for you for this Shopify product model. So you see there's create, update, and delete actions. There's also a read API. If I go over, across the code, you can add custom code, and this is your app backend in Node.js. So if you are writing custom functionality that happens whenever you create a product, this is where you'd add it. I'm not going to get into what the run and on success functions mean right now. I'm not going to go through Gadget stuff. I do recommend going through our product tagger tutorial. It will teach you more about Gadget and less focus on Shopify. Over here in the triggers section though, we do have Shopify webhooks as triggers. So whenever a product is created or updated, this create action can be run. And the reason update can also run this create action is I might go into the admin, update a product. If it doesn't exist in my database already, it'll create a new instance, a new record of this product. So let's test this out. I'm going to go to my admin, click on products, and I will just add a new product. I'm going to go ahead and call this t-shirt. I can enter a description if I want. I don't want to right now. Add media, so this would be like an image of my product. Set some pricing, track quantity. I do need a SKU in order to create a new product. Doesn't really matter what it is. So I'm okay with this. It's just a title right now. I'll press save. So this actually creates a new product in my shop, and it'll fire that product's create webhook. So if I go back to my Gadget app, I can go to my data page. You'll see that the t-shirt has been added to my database. So that's wonderful when I am creating or updating products. I might also want to get all of the products that are already installed or already created in a merchant store, and I can use Gadget's data sync to do that. So I'm going to scroll down, click plugins, Shopify, and then go to shop install. So this is the app I already connected. And I'm going to go ahead. This is my store, cart transform testing. I'll hit the sync button. So I'm manually triggering a sync now. There is also a way to trigger a sync as soon as a merchant installs your app on a store. And what this is going to do is pull in all of my product data from this store into my Gadget database so that I can start using my data from my database to actually perform my app's functionality. So I'll click on product, click on data, and you see that all of the data is now synced to my database. So that's wonderful. The Shopify API does have rate limits, and Gadget handles that for you. So you don't have to worry about the number of products or orders or customers that a store already has. Gadget will sync all of that data as fast as it can and manage that rate limit. So you don't have to worry about doing that yourself. Another nice benefit of using Gadget. So this is good. I have synced data into my database. I have my embedded front end. I think I'm probably ready at this point to go ahead and create a production version of my app, let's say. So I haven't actually built an app. Once again, I will refer you to any of our other tutorials, figure out what you want to build, and then go ahead and build our app. I'm going to skip that part and just get to how do I release an app in production. So this is my development environment. Gadget also has a production environment I can use. So I actually need to go back to my partner's dashboard once again. I do need to create a new app, another new app, call it my first production app. Once again, I get a client ID and secret, so I do want to copy these back to Gadget. I can go back to my connection and plugins, Shopify, and there is this production box. I just want to add my app credentials here. So that's my client ID, my client secret. I can confirm that. I can go ahead and copy the app URL and redirection URL back to the Shopify Partners app. Click Save. Go to Overview. Now this is where I can go ahead and choose my app distribution. So if I click on this Choose Distribution, I can select the custom distribution. This is just warning that my app can only be installed by a single store plus organization, so I'm okay with that. And I need to enter my store's domain. So this is my cart transform testing store. I think I can actually just go ahead and Copy this here. Perfect. So that's the admin link. You can allow multi-store install for a plus organization. I'm fine with that. So I'll generate a link. And this is just a confirmation dialog. This can't be undone. So there we go. I can copy this link to install my app on this particular store now. There's one thing I need to do in Gadget first, and that is actually deploy my app to production. So because there's two environments, development and production, I need to go ahead and take all my code and model changes and push them to my production environment before I install. So I can just go to this deploy down at the bottom here, click deploy to production. And what this will do is minify and optimize all of my front end assets. It's going to set up a production database, run any migrations that need to run behind the scenes, and then restart the production app. Happens usually pretty quickly, which is nice. And it is one click, which is another nice thing. No messing around in an AWS or Google Cloud Console. So that's great. My app has been deployed. So now I can go ahead, copy this install link, paste it into yet another new tab. I am going to go cart transform testing, install my app. And there we go. So this is the production version of my app installed on my store now. So that's great. That was kind of a quick end-to-end build minus the build part of setting up my first Shopify app. So that was just a very quick intro to Shopify app development. I do recommend you actually go through the process of building an app next, and included in this video description is a link to our product tagger tutorial, and that'll walk you through actually modifying your database, adding some custom backend code, and then building a unique front end for your embedded app. If you have any questions about getting started building Shopify apps, feel free to join our Discord and reach out. The link is in the video description. Until next time, I hope you keep building more and coding less with Gadget.